Okay, we can explain. We will do our Super Bowl video. That is on Saturday. You're going to want to be here for that. But we haven't talked about the NBA in a really long time, like back since the bubble ended. So let's get back into what's going on with the NBA, talk about our team and everything. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. 4, 3, 2, 1.
And ladies and gentlemen, you are back watching the one and only Allied Rivals podcast. My name is AJ.
Yes, sir.
Also known as The Kid. And you already know I'm here with my man, Caedmon Bauer.
Yes,
How
sir.
you doing today, man? Good to see you, as
Doing-
always.
Yes, sir. Doing super good. It's been a long time, except for just besides the last one we just did.
Right,
We just did
exactly.
Allied Shorts. You should
Yes.
go check it out.
Absolutely.
yeah,
we built our own
pretty
quarterbacks on this. We built our own
did.
quarterbacks
It was
on
pretty
this.
sick.
Definitely want to
So
go
you
check
should-
that out.
Yeah, you should comment and
Mhm.
on that episode or this one, and just say or you can post a comment right now
There you
saying
go.
what your quarterback would consist of, arm accuracy, like which quarterback you would choose for all of them. But
There
yeah,
you
I've been
go.
doing pretty good, AJ. Kind of busy,
Nice.
a little bit tired,
Okay.
a little bit sore from basketball. But
Yeah.
AJ, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I mean, school is school. We're getting our first break week. We've been going for the last month. So we got a lot of good big projects coming up. So we're gonna be taking a little break to be able to prepare for all that. And hey, I'm doing good. It's always good on the Allied Rivals podcast, and I'm doing even better because Porter Drinks just put up one of the best comments ever. MJ is the greatest of all time. You, sir, are correct. Easily.
He is correct.
I like this guy more and more. Every time this dude comes onto the comment section, man. Every single time.
Especially when he says, "Go Packers."
Man, I'm able to look past that, man. I'm able to look past that
All
today.
right,
He
all
put
right,
up the Michael
all right.
Jordan good.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan was good to me.
Anyone saying LeBron's better, just get out. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Hey, maybe we
Yes,
have a
sir.
video detailing that. Why we think that sometime. Maybe we put that
Maybe
down
we
the
do.
pipeline. Maybe we do. But until
Maybe we
then,
do.
it is time to talk about the current day NBA. And it has been kind of a wild ride so far for a lot of teams. Definitely some big trades.
Yeah.
We've talked about a couple of those in past videos. But Porter Drink, thanks for showing up. Bring us your thoughts as well in the comment section as always. So, Caedmon, let's go ahead and start with your team and one other one. The Milwaukee Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets are scoring some of the most points in the league. They are also letting up some of the most points in the league, with the Bucks being 20th and the Nets being 20.
You know it.
Caedmon, let's start with the Bucks. These are your boys. This is your team. How have you been feeling about their season so far?
I feel like it's like the first 10 games, I felt like we had a big problem because even though we won enough, the games we lost were because we didn't play defense. We don't have any problems with offense whatsoever. It's that our defense – well, actually, let me change that. The problems with offense were with our bench, and I was actually a little bit concerned about that because guys like Bobby Portis would kind of go on and off. Forbes would kind of go on and off. And just all those guys just – it seemed like they would all have a great game, and then none of them would have a great game the next day.
Yeah.
So, but the past 10 games or so, 8, 10, the bench has been scoring really well, and I've been really happy about that because we've been able to put in like Portis and Forbes in as like kind of like starters. Like they get as much time as like DiVincenzo or Brook Lopez, and that's something really great to see, just kind of getting them experience. They've been scoring a lot more. They've been really more active the past few games, especially. So now we just have to play better defense because it's not the worst in the league. It's not as bad as the Nets, but you want to see it. You want to see it a little bit better because especially because we've seen with the Bucks the past 2 years. We can't play. We don't get to the championship because our defense can't hold out that long.
Very true.
So,
Very
but
true.
AJ, what do you think about the Bucks?
I think they've been doing all right so far. I've been impressed with how well their offense is doing. It seems like they put up 125 plus every game, basically routinely. That's what they've been doing recently. A lot of their games, they've been absolutely blowing out people. Like you said, the bench is finally starting to come alive. Giannis is still incredible.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me, other than their defense, is I'm just a little worried because they've lost a lot of their tougher matchups. The Nets, the Lakers, the Celtics, they are whooping up on a lot of the lower teams. They're destroying the Hawks, the Raptors, they've been losses to the Hornets, Pelicans. I'm just a little concerned about them. They just haven't been. I don't think they've been as good in clutch games as they were last season, but I mean, that's to be expected. They had one of the best seasons that you could have in the NBA. So of course it's not going to be as good, but I think they're going to have to definitely learn how to close out games against tougher teams. And I think that's what's going to kill them in the long run if they don't get it fixed. But the Bucks are a very talented team. Chris Middleton is looking good. Very impressed with Drew Holiday so far in the start of his season. So I like the Bucks. Porter Drinks getting us started talking about the Nets, says they are up and down. What the heck? They can't play defense. Every other game, James Harden's looking fat. Caedmon, what do you think? Even Steve Nash, the head coach of the Nets, is admitting that their defense has so many problems. What do you attribute that to, and what can they do to fix it?
It's not the big man problem. It's not a KD problem. It's not the inside game problem. It's that they let up such high shooting percentage, like outside the paint. It's that they let up so many threes. I think that's like one of their big weak spots. I mean, they're like top 5, I believe, in how many shots they block. But those are basically all from inside. They don't have that many steals a game. They actually have like one of the lowest per game as like a whole unit. So I'd say since your inside game is doing so well, and especially KD's having an incredible year, I'd say just kind of keep those guys out, like the other guys, like closer to the 3-point line, closer to the arc, because that's where a lot of the points are being scored. And it seems like once the Nets are down at all, they don't come back usually, because their defense doesn't get any better, no matter how good their offense is.
Yeah, very true. I think the biggest thing for me is that they have absolutely no depth. Like we talked about earlier in the season, how like the Bucks were trading away their bench. The Nets have no depth.
I know.
Durant, Harden, Kyrie, they have to log like 40 minutes per game. And I mean, I know that's normal, whatever. They're logging almost the entire game because they have no depth. Jordan, it didn't help that Kyrie disappeared for 5 games or whatever. We're past that now. But still, I just think that's a big thing. They have no depth. And the problem with them and also with the Milwaukee Bucks is that both of them are bottom 6 in cap space for the league. They have no money. So when it comes to the trade deadline, both of them, I think, are absolutely going to be hurting, especially when the Bucks are already hard capped and the Nets aren't. So I think that's going to be the big thing, is that they have no depth. They need to make some trades at the deadline, I believe, in the next month to be able to help out at least a little bit. They put so much into their starting roster. They were trying to make a super team. When you compare it to like when the Warriors had a super team, they had Thompson, they had Curry, they had, and then they got Durant. They still had Iguodala. They still had Sean Livingston. They still had people coming off the bench. The Nets just don't have that. And until they get conditioned to, playing 60 minutes a game, I don't think they're going to be able to hang once it comes late in the season because they'll be exhausted.
Yeah. And just one more thing to add to the Nets is that their main, like, the guy that gets the most rebounds is James Harden. Yeah. And that's also kind of a problem because you want to see KD or some other big guy that plays down low getting more of the rebound. And the Nets' problem also is just so many turnovers.
Yeah.
But maybe it'll change.
Very true. Let's move on to our next topic. Porter Drink's already bringing it up. Zion is improving every game. Very true. But do you see the Pelicans making the playoffs? This is a good point, Caedmon. The Pelicans have really kind of faltered. You and I said that they were some of our biggest winners coming out of free agency. They did a really good job. It seemed like they had a great
what
base.
Were we saying?
Zion, Lonzo, Ingram, but all of a sudden they have absolutely collapsed. They are next to last in the NBA. In the NBA West, they are 14th. So what do you think? Are you surprised at the Pelicans faltering? And to answer Porter Drink's question after that, maybe, do you see them making the playoffs at this rate?
Yeah, I mean, they're having problems all around. It's not like the Nets where they have problems on defense or who has the best defense, terrible offense. I don't know. But they have problems all around. Turnovers, offense, defense. I mean, Zion's obviously your go-to guy. I mean, you got Eric Bledsoe from the Bucks, who's a veteran presence and a leader. You got Ingram, and I mean, problem is that Zion and Ingram are kind of like the only two getting above like 20 points a game, or even like that close. None of the other guys are scoring very well. While they have a really good rebounding team and. Assisting team for Zion.
Yeah.
Nothing else is really going their way. And while they don't have the worst defense in the league, it's definitely not top 15. And no, it's just not working for them. You can't have a one-man team. And I mean, you can't even really have a two-man team because you need like two what did we say? Like two elite players. Like we saw Curry and KD, or this year was LeBron and last year LeBron and AD.
Yeah.
And right now Zion is playing great. I mean, he's not having like an MVP season right now. He's playing great, but he doesn't have like a number 2 guy with him, and he doesn't have any bench.
Yeah. Yeah, I think some of the Pelicans' biggest problems is, Steven Adams has been doing fine rebounding so far. Lonzo has regressed incredibly. He's shooting 40% from the floor right now. I mean, JJ Redick isn't bad, but like you said, they have absolutely no bench. Eric Bledsoe's been fine, but this is an NBA where you need to be a lot better than fine if you want to win games. And my boy Porter Drinks brings up, Ingram is a borderline superstar. I think he is at this point. He's one of the best defensive players in the league. He nailed that massive extension for a reason, and he's putting up the second most points per game on the team by 0.3 points difference behind Zion, and he's logging 34 minutes a game. I think he definitely is a rising superstar, and he and Zion are definitely a great double team. But there's a lot of rumors about Lonzo leaving at the trade deadline if he doesn't pick it up, which I don't think he's going to be traded at this rate. They just got him from LA 2 years ago. I think he's just in a slump, but I think the starting lineup really needs to pick it up if they want to start competing for a playoff spot. They can for sure. They have the talent, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and I wasn't trying to put down Ingram in any way. He's amazing. But the problem is that they are constantly having him or Zion double teamed, and so it's hard to move the ball around. I mean, they are doing okay on assists, but it's not enough. They just got to figure something out. But AJ, what other team shall we talk about?
Well, let's talk about the 76ers because somehow they've propelled themselves to number 1 in the East. And yes, everyone, I hear you saying, I've said it before, it's the Eastern Conference. What does it matter? It doesn't matter until you get to the playoffs. But still, first year with Doc Rivers as head coach, turning them into offensive juggernauts, 10-1 at home? Caedmon, who flipped the switch in Philly? What is going on?
I don't know. Something's going on, and I can't explain it. I mean, they still have a decent bench. They still have a good starting lineup. They can play defense as well as anyone in the league. And I think this is just really good coaching. And, I mean, this is really good cooperation. I think the coaching and the players are just really able to work together here. It seems like everything's fitting together so far really nicely. I mean, the first few games were kind of what I expected, and then they just haven't been losing since then. I mean, their offense is great. Except for like their free throw percentage, that's like the only, and their 3-point percentage, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're good, and their defense is arguably the best in the league. Joel Embiid has been playing out of his mind. So is Harris. He's also been playing really good. I don't know. I'm gonna say the main factor here is coaching.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a big thing. I think I think also the emergence of certain players. Seth Curry's averaging 13 points a game. Like you said, Tobias Harris has come out of absolutely nowhere. He's putting up 20 points a game. Shake Milton has been a great 6-man off the bench. I think that they've been playing very, very well. I also think that it's their defense's ability to hold people to under 110 points, because this isn't a team that scores 120 every night. This is not your average Bucks or Nets at all. This is a team that's defensive first, and we saw them shut down the Lakers in the first half when they beat them 106-107. Yeah, sure, it's a close game, but either way, it's a win. You're going to take it. I think that's big for the 76ers. I think that they are looking great. I think Doc Rivers is having a great early stretch as coach, but it really does matter on what they're going to do down the stretch, because the 76ers, we've seen them get hot before. But right now, they're on top of the East. I think they deserve it. I think that quality win over the Lakers is really what led me to believe, yeah, this is one of the best teams in basketball right now.
Yeah. I mean, just pointing out the Lakers game, just being able to shut them down so much, causing all the turnovers. But
Yep. Porter Drinks has a question for us. What is going on with the Miami Heat, Caedmon? This is definitely one of the surprises. The team that made it to the finals is currently sitting at 7-14.
Finals hangover.
Yeah, I was about to say, is this just a hangover? The curse of losing the NBA Finals? What do you think?
I'm honestly a little bit shocked. They're not playing good at all. They're playing really bad. Their offense hasn't been able to get it together. They're scoring some of the fewest points in the NBA per game. They aren't the 3-point shooting team that they were, especially at the end of the playoffs. Bam hasn't been hitting them as much. They've been still like good off with the rebounds and everything, but defense is still actually, sorry, not the rebounds, the assists. Rebounds are one of the worst in. Defense has been struggling. They've just kind of been going on and off. This team is really inconsistent, and they just haven't been able to get it together.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that's how it stays.
They can't score. They're having a hard time moving the ball around sometimes. I mean, yeah, sure, congratulations, you're 10th in assists, but your rebounding is absolutely atrocious right now. They haven't been great on defense. They turn the ball over a decent amount of times. I think this attributes to partially, I don't think Jimmy Butler's been really getting going yet. I don't think he's hit his stride. I think eventually he will. Tyler Hero, I think, has been playing well. I mean, the superstar that showed up out of nowhere that basically saved the Heat half the time in the playoffs. He's been playing fine, but I think that's the thing. The Heat are playing fine offensive basketball. But this kind of NBA, fine is going to land you bottom 10 in the league. So I think they really need to start picking it up for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think I don't think there's a lot of other stuff to go over, but I think one of the biggest ones is one of the biggest surprises of the season for me, at least, with how well he's doing. We've all seen what's been going on in Washington and everything. When a guy puts up 60 points and your team still loses, Washington, get Bradley Beal some help. He's averaging 30-plus points a game. He is almost carrying your entire offense, and yet they're keeping him. Him and Westbrook are stuck in Washington at the bottom of the East. Caedmon, do you think Bradley Beal gets out by the trade deadline, or do you think he's going to be stuck in Washington for the rest of the year?
And this is crazy because you just said it. Bradley Beal is having kind of like close to an MVP type season.
Yeah.
And I mean, Westbrook's there, and who else is there? Guys I've really not heard of.
Yeah.
Because they are playing well. Their bench is one of the worst in the league. They're not really great at anything. Their defense is arguably the worst in the league. Their offense outside of Bradley Beal and Westbrook hasn't been getting going, especially with their. I mean, they've scored enough points. They're like I think top 5 in points.
Yeah, they're number 4 in points per game.
Number 4, okay. But their shooting percentage is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
They just keep shooting and they keep missing, and the guys that are making it most of the time are Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
They do not have a bench. They have the worst defense in the league, and it's kind of pathetic.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest problems with them is they don't really have that many big men. In terms of rebounds per game, Russell Westbrook is leading the team, and I know that that's kind of what he does. He does absolutely everything, but still, get them some help, man. I don't know what is going on in Washington that's causing that. I mean, I don't think Bradley Beal leaves Washington. I'll say that. I think they're going to hang on to him with a guy this valuable and a lot of other teams already over the cap limit by a decent amount. I don't really think he goes anywhere, but oh my goodness. I feel bad for him because he's having, like you said, an MVP type season in terms of points per game at least, but they're not rebounding well. Their defense hasn't been performing well. And Washington is at the bottom of an East that, I mean, is getting quote unquote better ish outside of the East isn't that great. I'm sorry. They have like 4 genuinely good teams and everybody else is kind of a wash to me, but still I feel bad for the man. Let's get to 2 last things and then we'll get Porter Drink's question and leave. Sound good to you, Caedmon?
Yes, sir. Sounds
all
good.
Right. Well, first of all, the NBA, I don't think we ever mentioned this, is doing a special playoffs this year with a play-in bracket. And if none of you guys have heard about this, essentially the 7th and 8th team are going to play each other, and the 9th and 10th are going to play each other, and the winners get to determine who's going to be the 8th seed in the league come playoff time. Caedmon, what do you think about this? I mean, for me, I think it makes sense. Like we saw, we had some exciting games down the stretch in the bubble. I think this is where it came from, watching the Suns late push, Dame time at the end of last season. So I think that's where the idea came from. But what do you think? Are you in favor of the play-in bracket or no?
Not totally sure. I think the bubble worked really well though. And so maybe this will be good. I mean, this might give a chance to teams like the Phoenix Suns that absolutely blew up playing really good at the end of last year. But just didn't have enough wins overall to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I think this might be a good idea. I mean, I think it'll bring a lot more competition. It'll just bring more games, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm all in.
Yeah, I think it'll be exciting to watch the West for sure. To watch, Steph Curry leading his team, Dame time if that comes to it at the end of the season, and I can't wait to watch, the East have it, and we finally get the absolute best of the mediocre into the NBA playoffs. That is what I'm really excited for. Before we get to our final question, Porter Drink, Super Bowl predictions, or will you have a Super Bowl episode? Brilliant question. We will be having our Super Bowl episode on Saturday. Approximately, we're looking at like 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 Eastern. So be sure to be there for that. We will have a separate dedicated episode to the Super Bowl. Last question, Caedmon. LA versus LA. The Clippers and the Lakers are performing incredibly well. Who are you giving the edge to right now? Is it AD and LeBron or Paul George and Kawhi, who've been coming out of nowhere right now and really performing much better than the rest of us expected under Tyronn Lue?
I don't know because I'm not sure if the Clippers are going to stay as they are. Or are they going to get better? Because they've made some changes, but so have the Lakers. The Lakers are kind of looking like they're in full form right now. Off the bat, I'd kind of got to say Lakers. Even though they're not, they're second in the division and the Clippers are ahead. I think the Lakers are just gonna kind of stay steady the whole season like they did last season, and I think the Clippers might fall off somewhere in there. I don't know for some reason, and even though they're half a game back, I trust the Lakers more. I don't know why. AJ is having technical difficulties, and we got AB in the comment section. Kawhi Leonard is his father.
That is a little creepy. I'm not going to lie.
AJ. So I don't know why, but I am going with the Lakers.
Interesting.
What do you think, AJ?
Right now, my goodness, both of these teams have been performing absolutely so well. I think I'm a big believer right now in the Clippers offense. They're scoring 115 points a game. They're doing incredibly well. But another team that we were talking about may be the best defense in the league, the Lakers. They allow the least points in the league with 104. Dennis Schroeder, my guy, is playing fine to start the season. So is Montrezl Harrell. LeBron is, of course, LeBron, so I don't really think I need to explain anything there. He's one of the greatest of all time. Kawhi and Paul George are finally clicking, though. They're both averaging 20-plus points a game. They're both averaging 30-plus points a game. I think that's really the big thing. I think I maybe give the edge right now to the Clippers just because I think they've been on a hot streak, and I think that's what's going to carry them over the edge right now if they met. But the Lakers are an extremely talented team for a reason. They're very, very good. And if these two meet again, sparks are going to fly. Because, they played once this season, but come on, that was opening day. That might as well have been 2 months ago because it was. Yeah. But still, I think right now, slight edge to the Clippers, but it's very, very close.
Yeah.
Well, all right. That's going to do it for an Allied Rivals, kind of an update at the NBA here in February. We'll be sure to do more of these. We'll definitely get into more baseball and basketball and other sports and, of course, March Madness once the NFL winds down. We'll be sure to do our Super Bowl episode. Be here on Saturday morning, or afternoon, depending on what time zone you're in. We will be doing our Super Bowl episode. We'll be breaking down both teams. You definitely do not want to miss that. Caedmon, anything else you want to say before we head out?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Sounds good to me. Well, be sure to go check out our Allied Rivals shorts. If you didn't already, we talked about building our own quarterback. It was awesome. Be sure to go check that out. It was a good one. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm AJ Herschel the Kid, and right there is my man. Oh, we just switched. Right there is my man, Caedmon Bauer. We will see you guys next time on the one and only Allied Rivals podcast. Have a good one, everybody.
See ya.